Okay guys, this is Cruise Roy with the Master CP Walkera that I bought. I kind of like this bird. It's actually pretty stable for a fly-barless system. But when I first took it out of the package, I watched a bunch of videos on YouTube and it said ready to fly. So just to say to everybody, check your settings, because it really wasn't. So the first flight, I tipped it, it hit the ground, and it stripped all 3 servo gears, which I guess they're notorious for, but I was trying to keep this bird cheap, just something to fly during the winter, maybe on the inside. I also got a couple of little nicks here in the blades. These blades come back when they hit something, they're so loose, and they tag the blade grips, but it doesn't affect its flying, and I'll sand it out, but they're really weak in this point here when they come flipping around. Walkera is known to keep their blades really loose. They kind of flop around. But what I did for the servos is on the forums, everybody was saying that the Futaba 3114s, the gears were a direct replacement. So I guess I listened and I bought them. It's $24 for 3 sets. And then later on someone came on and says, I hope you're not using the Futabas because they don't fit. So what I'm going to do is try to see if they fit. I couldn't afford the metal gear servos, I guess, are the best way to go by Walkera, but they're like $50 for 3 servos, which is a shame because try to keep the price of the bird down, and buying that, you might as well buy yourself an expensive $250 or something. But anyways, I don't know if it's on. I'm just doing a video because I don't know if anybody did one, but to replace the gears now. Just bear in mind with me, you know, first time I'm taking this apart. This bird's never been apart. I'm going to try to probably just do one. So hopefully I take this apart right. Start with one of the rear servos here. But what happened was I went to fly it, and it still flies. It's like the gear spun around 180 degrees and realigned itself. But you can tell this strip because all you do is go like this and see the sloppiness. They're very sloppy. And if I put the battery in and I bring the pitch all the way up, they start to bzzz, they grind. So they're definitely gone. And unfortunately it was all 3, one shot. As soon as the bird tipped on the fly-barless setup, it just took out every servo instantly. So you can actually still fly this. I showed one of my videos flying this, and the servos are bad. And it actually flies. So it'll fly with bad servos. I guess it just spun itself around and relocated. I'm not sure how it works, but they were still working. So like I said, I never taken this apart, but it looks like this rear piece comes off, the swash alignment tool there, and what I'm going to try to do is just do one of the rear ones here, see if I can do it without, it looks like you got to take all the wire ties off and everything to get these servos out of here, but let's see if I can pop one out here. That's what's nice about this bird. It's actually pretty simple. You know, it's not a lot of screws holding the whole servo on. I powered it up with batteries to get them where they are, but if you touch these, you really shouldn't move them by hand. They're not strong enough. But otherwise, you're pulling all the wire ties out. I might have to do it to get them out so I can work on them, but just figured I'd try. I'll do as much as I... Yeah, see? Look at that. I can't believe it just... But the bird flew. The bird can fly. It's just... It's not a good idea to do so. Because then you'll crash and wreck it. But see if I can do this without... And here's the Futaba gears here. And someone says they fit in there, so we're going to give it a try. I mean, the $24 was cheap enough for me instead of trying the metal gears. I wish they sold the bird with the metal gears right off the bat. So let's see. Move all these parts. I got a little magnet here to hold everything together. I am only seeing 2 screws in one of these servos here. And like I said, I guess the metal geared servos is the way to go, but $50 is a lot of money, and this just happened. The bird's brand new. It's probably got 8 batteries through it so far, but like I said, I've been flying it with the stripped gears. It's just I don't want to take any chances on any type of forward flight or going up too high, because the servo will really cause a problem if she crashes. So I've been waiting for the gears. They came in today. They're a Futaba replacement gear for the S3114s, or the 31, you know, but someone says it's the same gear, you know. But it's if you try to get in touch with Walkera to change these gears, you don't get an answer back. So it's pretty poor that they do that. I've had the U fly before, and the V. I actually had the V10, the 120, which I liked. It was a good bird, but a little small. So I wanted something a little bit bigger, and this is a fly barless, and the 6-axis gyro seems to work very well. So it is a nice bird, except the servos were kind of junky. It's too bad they don't put the metal ones in right off the bat for you, so you have a good servo. I don't see any other screws here. Like I said, this is going to be a first here. Yep. Oh, there we go. Did a little clip. You got the Vaseline in there. I'm just going to look around to see if I see any parts right at the moment. It's actually got a ball bearing in there. It's a ball bearing style servo. Let me see if I do see pieces in here. What's good is the Vaseline kind of holds it in place, but look at a big chunk in there. A little chunk right here of plastic. Take that out of there. And it's a shame they're so cheap, but it's a small servo. But I was thinking about all the mods that people are doing, but you know, they make direct replacements. It's just they should have been in the bird the first place, you know. Alright, so I see the teeth that are wrecked on the main motor gear. Try to get the bearing off of here. Like I said, I'm trying to do this with the bird in place so I don't have to tear the whole bird apart, but let's take the bearing out of here. See if I can find something to take the bearing off a little better. My eyes, just bear with me, my eyes ain't what they used to be. Do this as a little pry bar. There we go. Well, the bearing ain't stainless steel because it sticks to a magnet. Little tiny bearing here. See if I can, I'll have to put that back on the gear, but I don't know if the lighting's good here, but that's my poor dog. He likes to bark at everything. He's getting old. Alright, so let's see if I can hone in on the servo here. Alright. Now it does look similar to these Futaba ones, but let me gently, of course I'm getting my dog's hair in there, see how they pull apart here. I've done servos before, but they were a lot bigger for me to handle in my hands than these. I'm using scissors as pry bars here. It seems like I can't get it out. Trying to see, that should be the first one that comes off, is the spline. Yep, there we go. Yeah, you look at the, that's a pretty good tooth right there, too, right there. A pretty big size gear right there. I think I had it the wrong way. It was probably this way at one time. It probably sits that way. But yeah, that one's all chewed up. Pull that off. I would say the big side goes to it. It was flipped around. What it did is it flipped 180 degrees and kept working on the small side. So, but if you can see it, you can see the teeth are all chewed off. That's the battery charger. Alright, so that was the first one off. The next one is this one here. And if you look at that one, hopefully you can see this in the camera, but there's a few teeth missing off of that one. Well, there's probably a lot of them. You know, you can see a lot of them on there chewed off a little bit. So that's the next one. And then we have this one. And that one kind of looks okay. So these two are in the same position. And that one, we'll probably mess them up putting them back together, but. And last but not least, the little one here. See if I can pick it out with the toothpick. Yep, there we go. Alright, so we got that one. But before I take that one off, I want to open a pack of Futabas here. Back up a little bit. Like I said, these are the Futaba gear set for the S3114s and the 3014Ms, which I thought were Metal Gear, but I guess Futaba don't make them. But for some reason, someone said they work. The only difference is the gears are black in the Futaba set compared to the Walkera. Let me just dump them out here. So we're going to see how they work. After I bought them, someone said that they don't work. So we'll see. They look fairly similar. Alright, so the first one, let me just line them up like they are here. This one, this one, this one, and then the smaller one. Okay. You have to watch me screw up here. See if I can bend the camera down. Alright, that's where the gears are. Okay. Now, I'm going to take this one off here. Right here. Take that one out. Drop it down. Let's put the new Futaba. Alright. Okay, it seemed to fit right in there. Let's go a little more forward here. Make sure I'm in the camera. So the next one was the opposite here. And like I said, this one's black compared to Walkera's is white. I wonder if it's just a different material and the plastics. And then we got another black one. My doggy's here. And that lines up with that one. And then we have, we're going to put that center. Wait a minute. trying to get it centered here. Okay. So that's the way I stacked them in there. I'm not sure if they're going to line up right, or normally the controller will put them back to normal. But boom, 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 boom. It's kind of like a set of stairs. Oh, let me not forget the Baron. So the Baron fits good. I got that centered like I thought. I would assume the fatter side goes to the big part of the gear. It was stripped, so it was in the wrong position, so I'm hoping we're good here. Two longer screws. Yeah, like I said, I guess the better route to go is to get the Metal Gear servos, but I just couldn't afford it at this time. And that's not fitting right. That is not fitting correctly. Alright. Oh. I guess what you gotta do is make sure no other pieces of plastic in here. So just mind me, I'm just looking for these other little pieces of plastic hanging around. Make sure the Baron's in the right place. Okay. Yeah, I get the Vaseline on the serial numbers and it just wipes the numbers right off the sticker. But I figured I'd do it to see if they work. I hope they do. But someone wrote me from Hong Kong and said, I hope you're not using the Futaba gears because they're not direct replacements. But I'm like, well, who makes these? Who makes these servos? Walkera won't answer you. You know? So alrighty. So I'm not going to show you pretty much everything. You know, that's the gears. I didn't cut all the wires to get them out. I'm probably going to have trouble with the other one, but now I have the alignment of the servo horn. Let's see if the servo horn fits the Futaba, which it does. You know, kind of flimsy. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect the motor, just in case. Let me get a battery. Be right back. Okay, I have the little deviation here, little deviation 7E, or devention, whatever they call it. What I want to do is plug it in and see if the servo works, and maybe I'll disconnect the rear motor. The rear motor is a pain in to get disconnected. There we go. Alright. What I'm going to do is plug in a battery, turn on the radio, plug in a battery. Plug in the battery, let it bind. There we go. So seems to be working. Everything's centered. All my sub trims, everything are centered. So this one's supposed to be 90 degrees. See if I can still get 90. Yeah, I'm not getting quite 90 out of that. But see, the gears move it. Yeah, the gears are spinning on their own. Hear it? Something isn't right. But I put it in. I'm going to have to play with them off camera, but I don't think the Futabas fit right. And the teeth are so tiny on them that I'm going to take it apart and take a look at it, see what happened in there, but they're not sounding too good. I mean, I'm just touching them and they're stripping out, so I guess maybe it's not a good idea. It's a better idea to get the Metal Gear servos and just replace them completely. But alright, that was just Cruise Roy showing if it was possible the Futaba gears, but it doesn't feel like they're right in there, and I'll let you know on the forum how it's going, if I get them to work right or they just stripped out again. Okay guys, this is Cruise Roy. I was working on the Walkera CP, Master CP, and on the forum it says you could change the servo gears with these Futaba replacement gears, but I tried and they were worse than the ones I have that are stripped on here. And I mean, just to show you, I mean, I actually took a micrometer or vernier or whatever you want to call it out there, guys. I know someone's going to give me crap for that. And if you take them and you measure the gears, just their outside diameter, gently line it up. Alright. When you measure the outside diameter of these gears, the Futabas are thousandths smaller, which the minute I put them in, they were worse off than the Walkera ones. They would just spin. They wouldn't strip because the teeth weren't even really biting, so I took them out and put the Walkera ones back in, and I'll have to wait until I can afford to buy the Metal Gear servos. And my opinion on the mods, the servos ain't that much cheaper than buying the brand new Walkeras, and by the time you mess with them and cut this and shave that, it's a waste of your money, you know. The servos are about 15 bucks a piece, the Metal Gear from Walkera, and they'll just plop right in and plug in. You don't have to reprogram them for reversal or anything. They'll be right where you need them. As for a mod, I think it's a waste of money. That's my opinion. If you like tinkering, knock yourself out. I mean, these things are made to fit perfectly in the swash alignment, this rear swash elevator gear, whatever you want to call this here. I don't know all the terms. but they fit perfectly in there. They fit in the slot in the frame. What are you going to do, Mickey Mouse with some wire ties? I've seen that. You know what? It's a waste of time. I'll just save up for the servo gears. But like I said, do not waste your money on the Futabas. They're thousands smaller. It doesn't seem like much, but when you put the gears together, they stop. They just start spinning and sound like they're stripping, but they're not even touching. They're not meshing. They're a lot smaller, so they don't have the proper mesh in there. So they do not work. I don't care what anybody says. I listened to it. I paid 24 bucks. That's 24 bucks. I could have bought one servo for 1.5 servo with the metal gears. I wasted my time, so I'm just putting my opinion out there. And I like to tinker, but there's no way to get these gears to work right. Just for anybody to know how to test your servos for strip gears, like my elevator won't stay level anymore because it's trying to bite a part of the pinion that's still working. But if you just put your hand lightly on the servo and move up your elevator, and you're just putting light pressure on it, see it? There you go. That's where the flat spot is. And now if I move my, right there, you're just putting light pressure. You're not putting heavy pressure, just enough to knock it out of position. But all three of mine are stripped. When I use the pitch is when you see it the most. But when you do this, disconnect your motor and your tail motor. Very easy, they just unplug. But as I'm moving my pitch, look, I'm just putting light tension on it. See it? So it's got, every gear is stripped, you know. There's just a little spot on there that flattened out, and so I tried. It was a waste of money. I don't know who out there is saying they can use Futaba. I read it online. I guess if it's on the internet, it's supposed to be true, but it's not. I took a micrometer to every single diameter on these gears, and they're thousandths off. I mean, it doesn't sound like much, but it's enough that these just spin. They don't even, they grab for a little bit, but any tension, so these, whoever's changing them out to Futabas, they're just crashing into trees. They're just wasting their money. There's no way it'll work. But that's what it seems like when the gears are stripped. I just wanted to show you that. Every one of my servos are junk. This bird's got 6 or 8 batteries through it, and that's it, and the servos are junk. So it's going to sit on a shelf until I can afford the proper. I wish Walkera would support their products and sell you the right gears. Even the Futaba, the main gear where the servo horn goes, it doesn't. It's sloppy on the shaft. The hole, if I can point at it here, the main hole that slides onto Walkera's little steel pin shaft, it's too loose. The thing's all floppy. So Futaba has got their tolerances down a lot different than these servos. I don't know who makes these servos, if it's directly, you know, some of these companies, they just put their name on it and it's not their product, but whoever makes, I think Walkera makes all their own junk. I'm disappointed with it because the bird does fly nice. It's got a nice receiver, very adjustable, it's very stable when it flies. It's unbelievable that it flies right now with stripped gears. But the servos are junk. Very simple design, it works, but just to let you know, don't waste your money on Futaba gears. They don't work. I got $24 worth of gears here if someone wants to buy them. They're total junk. They don't work. I guess the only, and then to mod it, I'm looking at all the different mods that people do and what you have to do to get them to fit properly, and then the horns never line up. You know what? You're wasting your time. My opinion. And anybody can argue with me all day long if they want, but it's a waste of money. Just buy, they have the new, I think it's a 7, instead of a 766, they're a 769, they're a metal gear servo, they just drop right in, they got the right plugs, they're already reversed the right way. So you're wasting your time doing any mods by pulling out your Dremel and trying to be a tinkerer. They won't work. Alright, this is Cruz Roy, that's my opinion on the Master CP. Mine's going as a bookmark right now. I'm not going to fly it until I get the right servos for it, but $50 is a lot out of my pocket today. I don't appreciate that Walkera doesn't support their servos by at least selling the gears, but they wouldn't make any money if they did that, would they? Alright, this is Cruz Roy, and I'm out of here.